This conference will now be recorded.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Laura Schifrin, and I call this meeting of February 8th, 2024 of the Montechusett Regional Planning Commission to order at 7 p.m. Jason, would you do the roll call, please? And also put the agenda on for me on the screen.
Yep. Let's see. There is the meeting. Start with the agenda. Okay, so we'll start with Laura Schifrin,
I'm present.
Christopher Monroe,
Present.
Rick Ward,
Present.
Jeff Tillotson,
Present.
Kathy Norton,
Present.
Barbara Yoakum,
I'm here.
and just joined us, Stacia Donahue.
Oh, here.
Okay, and then MRPC employees, Jason Stanton present, Glenn Eaton,
Yes, present, thank you.
Linda Quinlivan,
Yep.
Holly Ford,
Here.
Brian Doherty,
Present.
Karen Chapman,
Here.
and then we'll move on to guests. I'll start with George Garlic
Present.
and Victoria Eaton. Okay, that's it.
Okay, so I did not hear that Robert was here, Robert Schwartz. Is that correct?
I
He's
do
not
not see him here.
He's not here. He's away. He's out of town.
Okay. So just a heads up, Linda, I'll ask you to do the cash schedule and number 3. Okay,
Sure.
thank you, Jason, for doing the roll call. And I would entertain a motion regarding the approval of the January 4th, 2024 MRPC minutes.
Jeff Tillotson from AIR moves to approve the minutes as submitted.
Thank you, Jeff. Is there a second?
Monroe, second.
Benefits this project offers.
Can you
Ultimately,
speak up? And if you're not speaking, please keep your microphones off. Who was it that made the second, please?
Monroe.
All right, so where we were at was that the commission had comments and the applicant was going to respond to comments, and we did receive a letter with
Jason, feel free to
I
mute
don't
Roger.
know who that is, but please mute your microphone. Thank you. Jason, would you now do well, wait a minute. There was a first and a second. Are there any additions or corrections or comments regarding the minutes of January 4th, 2024? Okay, seeing none. Jason, would you take the roll call vote for approval?
Yep. Laura Schifrin,
Yes.
Christopher Monroe,
Aye.
Rick Ward,
Aye.
Jeff Tillotson,
Aye.
Kathy Norton,
Aye.
Barbara Yoakum.
I abstain. I was not present.
Okay. Stacia Donahue.
Aye.
And last but not least, Roger Hoyt.
Aye.
Okay.
And that's
Jeremy, yes.
Was that everyone? Has anybody else joined us?
No, I believe that's it.
Okay. Thank you very much. So it's unanimous, but one abstention. Thank you. I think 3. Back to the agenda. Jason, please.
Yeah, I would also just like to note that Kyle Nardowitz just joined the meeting.
Okay, thank you. Cash schedule, Linda, would you please take that?
Sure, no problem, Laura. We're ready to do it right now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sorry. Okay, so this is the January 2024 cash schedule. The opening balances from December 31st, 2023 The total opening balances are $546,423.63. The total receipts are $136,374.18. The total cash on hand before this warrant was $682,797.81, less the amount of this warrant, which is $209,919.15, giving us a balance after this warrant of $472,878.66. And that's it.
Are there any questions or comments from the commissioners? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to accept the cash schedule report of January 31st, 2024, subject to audit.
So moved, Monroe.
Is there a second?
Tillotson from Air, second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing, seeing none. Jason, would you take the roll call, please? For the vote?
Yep. Laura Schifrin,
Yes.
Christopher Monroe,
Yes.
Rick Ward,
Aye.
Jeff Tillotson,
Aye.
Kathy Norton,
Yes.
Bob Yocum,
Aye.
Stacia Donahue,
Aye.
Roger Hoyt,
Aye.
and Kyle Nardowitz.
Aye.
Thank you very much. That was unanimous. That was a nice pick. I need the agenda back.
Give me 1 second on the agenda. I closed it by accident. I'm just trying to open it back up.
Okay. That looks right. Okay, number 4 on the agenda is guest announcements and questions. Who do we have here that are speaking? I understand there were 2 guests here.
I'm speaking, Josh Kahale from Mart.
Yes, do you have a report?
Yes, a little one, and it is very good news to provide you. As part of the Fair Share pilot program, Mart received from MassDOT, we start implementing new services in our region. First one, we start last Monday, increasing the several loops on the intercity between Gardner and Fitchburg-Leominster. Almost every hour, people they can connect between the 3 cities. And also, this Saturday, we'll be implementing on the intercity express loops between Gardner, Fitchburg, and Leominster. And we'll have it from 10 o'clock to 4 o'clock afternoon. And also, this Saturday on Gardner to Winchendon link, we'll be implementing a Saturday service too. On Sunday, the 11th, we'll be implementing Sunday service in Gardner and in Atoll and Gardner and Atoll link. This is a great news for our communities. And in near future, maybe by the end of this month, we'll have Sunday service in Gardner and Leominster. And also we will be increasing the service between Fitchburg, Leominster, and Worcester. This is what I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's great news.
Yes,
Any comments from the commissioners? Questions? Seeing none. Thank you very much.
you're welcome.
Did we have another guest, Glenn? Did I hear before that will be speaking? No. Okay.
Not to my knowledge, Madam Chair Lady.
Okay, so on to number 5, administrative matters. Glenn?
Very good. Yes, thank you very much. The just to summarize 5.1, the FY24 budget request. About a month or two ago, I did a budget presentation, and we were about 9% in deficit for this fiscal year, FY24. With the input that I received from Brian and Karen recently last week, that deficit's been reduced to around 3 or 2%. So we are chipping away at it, which is good news. If Jason, you would be so kind as to pull up, there's a document that has 2 tables on a page 1, then a page 2, and the first table on page 1 is FY24. It's a budget summary. If you could pop that up for the commissioners. That's the spreadsheet, and that's where we go. Wonderful. Thank you, sir. So FY24 budget update. By the way, what Jason put up earlier just a few seconds ago was the whole FY24 budget for revenue and expenses. That's the summary budget, we call it. And if you have any questions, we can go back to that about any detail about any contracts that have come in, not come in, revenue, expenses, and so on. So I'm happy to field questions, but to keep it short and sweet and simple, the total revenue right now looks like it's going to be around 2.1 million. Total expenses are about 2.181 million and change. We have an estimated surplus or deficit actually about 73,416 in the negative, or 3.4%. So we've gone about 6 points in the positive direction, which is good. It's pretty normal at this time of year. You still, you don't have every dollar that you need through June 6th of the end of the fiscal year. That's pretty normal. So this is not, I don't see alarm bells here. I was concerned a month or two ago when we still had about a 9%, but things are looking good now. And I will share with you that, Brian from Transportation gives us data, and Karen gives us data about her contracts. And in each of their data sets, they believe they have enough money for all the funding for the organization. So, and I trust their numbers. When we take their numbers and we put it into our budget spreadsheet, for some reason, we're a little out of whack. That could be a formula problem. It could be anything. So between when I get back next week, I believe I'm back in the office on the 14th, through the next meeting, I'm going to re-meet with Fiscal and Brian and Karen and Jason, and we'll poke more at the numbers and try to see if that 3.4 deficit is really a deficit or if we're okay. That's the gist of what's going on in FY24. Jason, could you scroll down just a little bit, please? We'll go to the bottom of that table. And so we're projecting right now about a overhead rate of 1.3227 or 132.27%. That takes care of 5.1, Madam Chair Lady. And when you're ready, we can do 5.2 if there aren't any questions. Let me mute.
Any questions for Glenn regarding the budget and the deficit? Hearing none. Glenn, go ahead.
Thank you. And Jason, if you go back to that document to the second table, which is pretty much the summary of the FY25 budget on the second page there.
Sorry, which one? The same one? Second page?
This is the same document,
Okay.
second page.
I
Yes,
didn't
sir.
realize it was another page. All right.
Okay. So what this does is presenting a budget estimate, revenue and expenses, is a statutory requirement. You hear me say it every year. I'm sorry, but I'm obligated to say that we do have to do a budget estimate for the upcoming fiscal year every February. That's in the statute, the enabling statute under 40B, sections 1 through 8. I think it's section 4, 5, or 6. I don't recall. The bottom line here is that I'm projecting conservatively that we'll have less revenue from federal, state, and local contracts as we would have about the same expenses. And that right now in February, I'm projecting about a $283,000 deficit, or about 13% Now, the beauty, and I'm glad the legislators that wrote 40B sections 1 to 8 specifically back in the 50s or 60s, creating planning commissions to be created by communities, that they said, hey, in February, you got to project what's going on 5 months hence or 6 months in the future. So this is a good thing. It's a great planning tool, because the beauty of this is early February to early June, it gives you 4 to 5 months to really find the revenues that you need, and try to make sure that you're in balance, you're in parity between the revenue and the personnel side. You know, plenty of revenue, too much revenue, you got to hire, or you break even, not enough revenue, you have to lay off. So the gist of this meets the statutory obligation. You'll see that we will fine tune this at the May meeting. My tradition for 17 years has been meet the statutory obligation, do a presentation in February, fine tune it by May. So you have all of February, all of March, all of April. You have 90 days for the management team to work together, do a better cut at the May meeting, and then do a final presentation in June when we get the budget. So, Madam Chair Lady, that satisfies 5.1 and 5.2 on the agenda. And I'm going to mute again. Thank you.
Any questions from the commissioners? Hearing none. Glenn, do you want to go on?
Sure. If Jason be so kind to pull up the detailed agenda again, we'll go to 5.3. And so basically, this is about making sure that our transportation director, our new person, Brian Doherty. Hi, Brian. How you doing? I miss you all back there in Massachusetts. Bottom line is that in our bylaws, we have 4 titles that are adopted by the bylaws years ago by the commissioners, to 4 parties to be appointed as signatories on our checks, our 2-party check system to disperse funds, to pay our bills. And those titles are it might be 5. It might be, it's treasurer, vice chair, vice treasurer, it's executive director and transportation director. With the retirement and resignation of Brad Harris, we are going to remove his name from the bank account. We need this vote tonight to add Brian Doherty's name, authorization from commissioners to have him and his title be authorized to have him sign the 2-party checks to pay our bills. So basically, that's what that says in the resolution. That's the history. That's why we do it. And Jason, if you go down to the resolution, I will defer to a commissioner to move and second that if you wish, and I can field questions. But that's the gist of 5.3. I'll mute again. Thank you.
Thank you, Glenn.
Madam Chair, Jeff Tillotson. Be it
Jeff.
resolved that the Montezuma Regional Planning Commission hereby directs MRPC staff to remove Mr. Bradford Harris as a signatory on checks with MRPC's financial institution and add Mr. Brian Doherty, Transportation Projects Director, as a new signatory.
Thank you, Jeff. Is there a second? I need a
Monroe,
second. Can you
Monroe,
speak up?
second.
Okay, Kristen Monroe. Okay. Jason, can you do the vote? Is there first and second? Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. Jason?
Laura Schifrin,
Yes.
Christopher Monroe,
Aye.
Rick Ward,
Aye.
Jeff Tillotson,
Aye.
Kathy Norton,
Aye.
Barbara Yocum,
Aye.
Stacia Donahue,
Aye.
Roger Hoyt,
Aye.
Kyle Nardowitz.
Aye.
And that's it.
Thank you very much. It is resolved. And next?
So 5.4 is just a heads up, and I'd like to invite Karen Chapman to say anything if she wants to contribute. Please, Karen, feel free to do so. But Karen and I have received some communications over the past, I'm going to say 1 to 2 months. Karen, if it's different for you, please let us all know. From different communities asking MRPC if it could supply services to city and town halls in a range of areas. We're sending out a survey to our communities. We're going to do that to see if some of the communities are asking for, hey, can you offer planning or con agent or accounting or assessor, treasurer, building officials? One town even emailed me and said, can you supply a sealer of weights and measures? So we are seeing what's happening to our communities. And your municipal corporations, you need human resources, right? We know the national story that we're having trouble finding labor for a variety of positions. I don't know what's safe out there, but I think every position's been affected. So I've drafted a survey. When I get back, I want to finalize it with management staff and have a bunch of input by other people on staff and say, hey, let's ask our communities if this is objectively what types of positions they're looking for. Let's say we need 6 communities out of 22 that are looking for a town planner. I'll just pick that because it's simple. Then maybe we need to hire a planner or have an existing planner or planners deliver local town planning services and then contract out the services. Basically, folks, a regional planning agency it's a contract shop for planning. To give you an example, the Franklin Regional Council of Governments based in Greenfield and North Middlesex Council of Governments based in Lowell, they are COGS, but they also, and other regional planning agencies, do offer services in a wide variety of areas, much far beyond that we do. In Greenfield, we call it FERCOG. FERCOG offers public health nursing, building inspection, because they took over for the county government when the county government was dissolved. So we want to try to get some data, some raw data from the communities, see what's going on, report back in the March meeting. And if we have to extend the survey to April, we'll do that. But we want to get as much data as we can. I will close by saying that there was a great article in the Journal about a month ago about how there are 60 or so national data research houses. We all know some of them, but 20 years ago, 10 years ago, they were using the phone to do surveys. And only 7 of the 60 now use the phone because no one uses phones and no one's answering surveys anymore. So the whole nation is survey tired, I guess. We will do the best that we can to get the data. We'll get it back to you, and then we'll pick a direction. Either we're going to deliver more services or we're not. We'll figure that out. But we'll do it with our commissioners as a team. We'll figure out what we need to do for our communities. This message to you tonight is an update about a survey about a very important issue. What I'm asking you to do as the ambassadors from the commission to your communities, pick a local town administrator's brain, talk to the local planning board, whatever you'd like to do, or whomever you'd like to talk to, gather some subjective data, anecdotal data, if you wish. Bury us with a few emails. We'll do the survey to be objective, but feel free to let us know if there's a problem. And we want to respond if we can, but we'll do it as a team. Thank you for your time. I'm going to mute, and that ends my portion of the updates. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Glenn. Any questions from the commissioners?
I'm sorry. Yes, please, if you don't mind, Jeff Tillotson here.
Go ahead.
I'd be very interested, and I know you haven't got the survey together, but I would be very interested to find out what positions are going unfilled the most. I know here in Air, and other other communities around here, that the challenges in finding conservation agents and finding people in planning are huge. And we're starting to see, I happened to look at Air's employment this morning, and I know of 2 other spots that are open, but we are looking for an IT department director. We're now looking for an assessor. Our assessor has decided to leave and move farther west. So as administrator, assistant town administrators, we've got a lot of open spots here, and I'd be curious to find out what the data says about pay rates, because I know conservation agent openings sit on the Mass Conservation Agent website sometimes for almost a year. It's really challenging. So Glenn, when you get the data, I'd love to just look at it if you don't mind, because I think we have a real trend here, and it's coming from the pandemic, but it also, I think I'm very curious about this as a trend, and of course I'll talk it up with everybody here in town, the town manager and planning and conservation, because it's a real challenge. We talk about it all the time. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. I would encourage all the commissioners to speak to their town administrators or department heads, whatever you're familiar with there. So now we'll go on to, if there's no other comments.
Excuse me, Laura, I'm sorry. Is this going to go to just town administrator level, or going to go to all department heads, Glenn? What's your perceived audience, please?
My intent is to go to every local official we have in our group's contacts database in our Microsoft Office account. So Holly and many other people have contributed time to building a fairly robust database of town administrators, con agents, planning board members, historical commissions now, and others. We're trying to get it out to every department that we physically can through email data. It's going to be, I'm guessing it's over 300 local officials, mostly paid staff, because they're the ones that have an email account that we typically work with on a day-to-day basis. But, DPW, fire, police, if you can think of a department, we're trying to get it to everyone, Jeff.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, seeing none, we'll go to the department updates. 6.1 on the GIS.
I have no updates at this time.
Okay, Jason, thank you. Planning and development, Karen?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have several resolutions. Mass Trails Grant Application Resolution for matching funds. So MRPC recently applied for a Mass Trails grant to complete trail vision plans for 9 of our communities: Ashburnham, Clinton, Gardner, Hubbardston, Lancaster, Leominster, Lindbergh, Sterling, and Westminster. Our staff reached out to all 22 of our communities for interest in trail planning, and the 9 listed responded with interest. If awarded, the trail visioning for each community, phase 1, will include vision planning for all their associated trails and trail networks, GPSing of any trails that are digitally undocumented, creating trail maps, and a vision for walkability and connectedness. As a planning study for 9 different communities, this project will consider designing and building a full range of recreational trails, from natural surface pedestrian trails, mountain bike trails, shared use trails, rail trails, motorized trails, and equestrian trails. The product of this planning effort will be an implementation plan that will act as a roadmap for each community to develop their trail network, with the cumulative effect of creating a regional trail network that can be marketed as a regional attraction for users in and outside the region. This is the first phase of a 3-phase project that will result in a regional trail plan and marketing program for the Massachusetts region. Next scroll, please. Jason.
I'm sorry, I got lost.
The Mass Trails grant requires a 25% match. MRPC requested $156,688 in funds, with a total match of $87,162, equaling a 36% match of the total cost of the project, increasing our odds of award. The required match will come from community volunteers in the amount of $25,000, United Planning Work Plan Task for $30,000, and DLTA funding for $32,162. Tonight, I'm here for a resolution about the DLTA funding. And scroll, please. Be it resolved that the Massachusetts Regional Planning Commission approves of the Planning and Development Director's request to use $32,162 of the total DLTA award of $207,474 as matching funds against the Mass Trails grant.
Who will move the motion, please?
Tillotson from Mayor, make the motion, move the motion, excuse me.
Okay. And is there a second?
Donahue, second.
Okay. Any discussion? Question for
Yes,
Karen?
Madam Chair, Christopher Monroe, Hubbardston.
Okay.
So I'm generally supportive of this idea, and I'm happy that it's something that we're talking about. But I believe that this is a place where the devil's really in the details. And I would like to hear a little bit more about that trail development plan and how specifically it's going to be actionable for the communities. And a little bit more about how some of this work is going to be done. Because, for example, in Hubbardston, this is a place where the planning board and open space and a gaggle of volunteers have been working pretty hard for the last year or so. And the item that's mentioned in there of the GIS mapping, previously unmapped or unsanctioned trails in Hubbardston, that's been that's got to be over 100 miles. Like the amount of work and amount of ask that means. And I know not every community is like Hubbardston, where the trail inventory is just bonkers because of the Ware River watershed and all the trails running in and out of that. But it is something that is concerning to me, that how does the amount of work get balanced with a deliverable that's actionable? And how do we make sure that this is something that's useful instead of just a report that sits on the shelf?
Thank you for the questions, Christopher. So each of the visioning plans, we see volunteers in the town giving us information. A lot of towns have been working on the trail, so we have a lot of the information already. If there aren't volunteers in the town, we'll figure out how we can do that GPS. We've done it before. As far as what the product is going to be, so once we do each community's plan, they'll, excuse me, they'll have a set of recommendations of how they can do whatever it is that they need to do. Now, whether it's connect the trails, apply for grants to extend a trail, how to manage a trail, anything to do with trails. The idea is once we have each community's done, that we can have a regional plan and go for a significant more amounts of money, because we can look at the region and say, oh, we really should connect this area with this area, and we'd like to have it connected all the way through, so you can go, all the way through to Western Mass. I understand that communities are run thin. We also are run thin, and it's just we would be hiring a company to do trail assessments. So the trail assessments would be, what the condition is is there accessible trails, all of that stuff. So we would have that assessment done. GIS would do all the input and data. I guess that's all I can say about it. I wasn't the one who did it. So.
Madam Chair, if I may, it's Jeff Tillotson. I am incredibly supportive of putting together trail networks for our communities to be brought together even closer with multimodal transportation. I'm not sure, Karen, if you're aware of this, but there is a quasi non-government group. I don't know, you know how to call it, called Neshoba Regional Greenway.
Yes, we worked with them before.
Yeah,
we're working with them now.
No, I'm on the board. I know you're not working with us. As a matter of fact, I've not been.
No, we are.
You are? Okay.
Are we working with you and Devin and Molly Singer?
I just haven't been. I've been. My cup has been running over lately, so I have not been involved. Yeah. So I just want to make sure that. But the GIS stuff. So okay, you are. I thought you were aware of it. I was just double checking.
Okay.
Because one of the directions they're going in is something that it's right down the same line as this grant series. So we can have an offline conversation about this, but I am supportive about this. And if I can put my 2 cents in from the peanut gallery, we see this as a way of giving people I don't know, ultimately, people who come to our communities to enjoy our communities, this would put in our eyes, a concise and consistent way of getting from place to place through signage and stuff like that is what we've been seeing. And we've focused mostly on roads at this point because where we are, that makes the most sense. Though I know there are some non-road in Harvard that they've been looking at also. But I'm very supportive of this. Anything we can do to get people outside and out of cars in our communities would be great.
Christopher, I don't think I answered your question, did
I? In part, because I think of the work that we're doing in Hubbardston, and kind of what we're setting as the anchor is from a policy level, the state is really excited about what the Neurotic network is doing on the Mass Central Rail Trail and then building substantial trunks out of that. So we have the Ware River Rail Trail, which hopefully in the very near future, because of some work that's being done by the Ware River Watershed Advisory Committee, is hopefully going to get a bridge at Covered Road, which is going to make a good
Wow.
quality trail connection for the Ware River Rail Trail, which will get it pretty close to being solidly connected, and they'll bring in our network, and where we've been looking at building greenways and such out of that, and where we need the most help is coming up with strategies for acquiring these key parcels. So like a lot of our local volunteers have done a pretty good job identifying some of the parcels, but developing strategies for acquiring rights to them, and getting to the point of where it's kind of shovel ready. And frankly, where I think another place where I think this project could do the most good would be if it resulted in a piece of infrastructure where our open space committees talked more to each other. Because recently we've come up with examples where it's like, oh, well, Princeton got permission to use the trails around the Fitchburg water supply. Like, well, that's fantastic. Like, we wish we knew about that, because we have trails that go right into that and we didn't know about it till the website. So having a more like cohesive regional group, if that was something that came out of this project, that would be a pretty large win in itself. But finding like those little toeholds where we can kind of build momentum as a community is where I think it could be actionable. And I just want to make sure that that doesn't get lost, and that as we go forward with this, somebody's asking the question, and then what? And then what? 3 or 4 times. So like I said, I'm generally supportive of it, but I hope we do an excellent job managing the details of it.
Thank you for your input, Christopher. And, you know, we can start a regional open space committee anytime we want, if it's like quarterly or every other month. So, you know, just on Teams to begin with, because no one wants to travel the whole region. That's up to, does anybody else have any inkling that people in your town would be interested in open space regional committee or natural resources and open space committee?
I would think
Well,
that any of the communities who have an open space committee would like to have another community to talk to. That would seem feasible enough.
yeah, I can reach out to all the Concons.
Is any other commissioner have any other comments on the motion made and seconded? Hearing none, Jason, could you take the vote, please?
Yep. Laura Schifrin,
Yes.
Christopher Monroe,
Aye.
Rick Ward,
Aye.
Jeff Tillotson,
Aye.
Kathy Norton,
Aye.
Barbara Yocum,
Aye.
Stacia Donahue,
Aye.
Roger Hoyt,
Aye.
Kyle Nardowitz.
Aye.
That's it.
Thank you,
Thank
Jason.
you, everyone.
Karen, 6.22.
Yes, resolution for matching funds for EDA Year 3 of 3 Partnership Planning Grant. So as the name says, we have a 3-year planning grant from the Economic Development Administration. Right now, we're in the 2nd year of the grant, which ends March 31st. In the 2nd year, data collection is underway to update the Montezut Region Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy, MERSED, or MISTRESED, for the region, which expires in July. In the 3rd year, which extends April 1st, 2024 through March 31st, 2025, The subcommittee will meet to review the projects in the set and finalize the documents for submission to the EDA by July 31st, 2024. In addition, funding will be sourced to implement the projects listed in the set. EDA requires a one-to-one match for this grant. Be it resolved that the Montechusett Regional Planning Commission approves of the Planning and Development Director's request to use $70,000 of the total program year 17 DLTA award of $207,474 as matching funds against the annual EDA planning.
Do I have a maker for the motion on the resolution?
I wouldn't want to miss an opportunity. Tillotson moves it.
Thank you, Jeff. Is there a second to the motion on the resolution?
Monroe for a second.
Barbara Yocum, second.
Okay, we'll give Barbara a shot here, okay? Discussion from the commissioners, please. Questions to Karen? Hearing none, seeing none. Jason, will you take the roll call vote, please?
Laura Schifrin,
Yes.
Christopher Monroe,
Aye.
Rick Ward,
Aye.
Jeff Tillotson,
Aye.
Kathy Norton,
Aye.
Barbara Yocum,
Aye.
Stacia Donahue,
Aye.
Roger Hoyt,
Aye.
Kyle Nardowitz,
Aye.
and that's it.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Karen, 6.23 is next.
Yes. So MRPC is collaborating with the Central Mass Regional Planning Commission on a Milltown caucus to assist our communities with resources, discussion, funding opportunities, and redevelopment of mill buildings. In order to fund MRPC's staff time and resources for this project, we would like to set aside $15,000 of the program year 17 District Local Technical Assistance Award to support these regional efforts. CMRPC is also providing $15,000 of their DLTA funding towards this project. This project falls under the Planning Ahead for Growth category of eligible funding. Be it resolved that the Montechusett Regional Planning Commission, MRPC, recommends that $15,000 of the program year 17 District Local Technical Assistance DLTA award, if eligible, be conditionally awarded based upon approval from the Massachusetts Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities to support the Central Mass Milltown Caucus in collaboration with the Central Mass Regional Planning.
Do I have a maker for the motion on the resolution?
So moved. Tillotson.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second. Ward.
Is Ward okay? Any questions for Karen on this resolution? Hearing and seeing none. Jason, would you take the vote, please?
Laura Schifrin,
Yes.
Christopher Monroe,
Yes.
Rick Ward,
Aye.
Jeff Tillotson,
Aye.
Kathy Norton,
Aye.
Barbara Yocum,
Aye.
Stacia Donahue,
Aye.
Roger Hoyt,
Aye.
Kyle Nardowitz.
Aye.
Yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Jason. Can you scroll down?
Madam Chair, I have some more updates.
Okay, sure.
It's not on the agenda.
That's okay. Jason, you can leave the agenda there. Go ahead, Karen.
So I haven't talked about new grants that we've received in a while, so I just wanted to go over that. We received a planning assistance grant from the Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs for Harvard for $30,000 to work on their MBTA communities tasks. We received a PAD grant for Phillipston in the amount of $50,000 to do a zoning bylaw review, revision, and amendment. We have a $40,000 contract with CMRPC to work on the climate pollution reduction grant. And that we signed in December, and CMRPC is the lead on this grant. They received over $1 million to do a climate action plan for all of Worcester County and parts of Connecticut, and I believe a little bit of New Hampshire. So they're writing a climate action plan, a preliminary one that's due March 1st. So we're holding workshops in our region. We actually have one scheduled for next Friday night. Yes, Friday night before a long weekend. We have a meeting at MRPC or online. Jeff has sent out the announcement several times to the communities. So if you're interested in that, Friday night was the only night that, anyway, so that's a contract. And we'll also be having more of those in the future around the region. And it has to do with, if you don't know what it is, the Climate Pollution Reduction Grant is to reduce strategies to reduce carbon emissions in your town, like vehicles, more efficient equipment in your buildings, all of that stuff. The next grant was Brownfields. That started October 1st in the amount of $500,000. We're very close to issuing an RFP for the qualified environmental professional. We hope to have by April, and we're going to reinstitute the Brownfields, the Massachusetts Brownfields group, to start assessing sites. So look in your email for an email if you'd like to be on the Brownfields group. Regional Energy Planning Assistance under the Green Communities Program. We received $109,700 to do Green Communities Assistance for 14 of our communities. That includes annual reports, competitive grant applications, and we're actually hiring a consultant to do an emissions inventory for the region, which we will provide to all the communities. Next, DLTA 17 came in. That's in the amount of $207,474. The legislature has decided to give us another DLTA-A augmentation bucket of money to assist our communities with applying for federal grants. That's in the amount of $138,316, which is the same amount we got last year. Last year's money runs out this June and can be used for federal or state grant applications, but this new bucket of money can only be used for federal grant money. I don't know why they did that. That's the thing. So if you have any state grants you want to apply for before June, reach out to me and we can hook you up with our grant writer. Digital equity, we have a total of 5 contracts right now with a 6th one waiting. So we're working with Ashby, Fitchburg, Winchendon, Leominster, and Ashburnham. And then regionally, we're working with Phillipston, Royalston, and Tufts. So that's a total of 180,000. And they announced today that they're ending the municipal digital equity program on April 19th. The program will go until the end of 2026, but if you want to get into the municipal program, you have to do it by April 19th. So if you haven't done that, or if your community hasn't done that, and you want to, please go to the MBI website or contact me and I can give you that information. Next thing, we assisted Athol, Royalston, and Hubbardston applying for Green Communities competitive grants last fall, and they were just announced. They all were awarded, and the total amount of $396,670 we gave them. And lastly, the One Stop program through the state is now open for expressions of interest. They're due by April 30th, and the full applications are open for you to look at, so you know what the questions are. And the submission period is May 5th to June 5th. So if your community needs any help with that, we can assist. There were a few changes since last year, if you're familiar with it. They've added a Housing Works infrastructure program, which is similar to the MassWorks program, but it's to promote housing. They've simplified the development continuum and made it clearer so you can tell better where your project fits into their grant program. They've improved the expression of interest process, making the form easier and quicker. And you can submit more than one now. You could only submit one last year. And they have expedited feedback for the EOI so that you can, the state tells you which grant program you fall under or if you don't fall under. And then they've also included staff office hours and program-specific webinars. So each of the grant programs has a webinar, and you can go onto the One Stop website and find out about all of those webinars. I believe this week the One Stop is having the general introduction to it. So you can find those on your website. And I believe that's all I have. Unless anybody has some questions.
Well, thank you, Karen. That's quite a bit of stuff going on.
Yeah, I'm tired.
Yeah. Any of the commissioners have any questions or comments for Karen?
I'm afraid to, Karen, I'm afraid to ask Jeff Tillotson. We went through the DLTA bucket of money that just came into us. I think you quoted was 117,000. We just spent 102 of last year's money. Where do we stand on the DLTA money? I mean, I'm just kind of curious in the resolutions. Yeah, I'm new to this. How does that work is my question.
So how the match works is, let me make it easy to understand. So
and if this is better done offline, by all means.
No. I want everybody to know how it works. So they understand when I ask this money, what it's really going for. So we can use the DLTA money as match only if the particular DLTA projects are related in some way to what we're matching to. So for example, the EDA match, we match the full amount, 70,000, because we have to. But we say, you know, we're doing this DLTA project for this town to do an economic development chapter. So that's related to EDA. You know, we're doing this project that's related to EDA stuff. So that's how we use it. We don't actually, it gets spent on the DLTA project, but because it's related work, it can count as a match. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I was actually in a more straightforward manner. I don't know how much is in the buckets, and as we do these matches, where listen, checks in the checkbook does not equal money in the bank.
Right. So the fiscal department and I keep track of all of that stuff because the transportation department also uses some DLTA funds and other funds for their matches. So we do track it so that we're not using more than the amount that we get.
Great, thank you. I don't want us to put you. I don't want us to jam you up by mistake. And we do a resolution. We're awarding a grant. The money's not there. So thank you. I appreciate that.
And just a last final reminder that all the first round of DLTA proposals is due by March 6th to be voted on, you guys, on the 3rd. FYI. And we're prioritizing MBTA communities and one community doing or several chapters.
Excuse me, ask one more question. It turns out we've got to do an economic feasibility study for the MBTA stuff here. We've got one from Lexington. Are any other communities in MRPC being in a position where they're going to have to do an economic feasibility study?
Not that I'm aware of yet.
Okay.
But
I don't recall that being part of the original MBTA. Did it come out later or?
So it's because part of your zoning in the form-based code, you allow affordable housing at a higher rate than is allowed by the MBTA community. So yours is 20%. It only allows 10%. So you have to do an economic feasibility analysis to prove that it's not going to be economically unfeasible for the multifamily to be built.
Yeah, that's my understanding also. It just
Yeah, I
kind of sounds funny.
provided that. Someone gave me that limit, the Lexington one, and so I had forwarded it to Danny and Alan.
Yeah, I read through it this morning. It's phenomenally interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
thanks. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Any other comments from the commissioners?
Yes, this is Stacy from Harvard. I'll just say to Jeff that we're working on our MBTA bylaw with Jonathan Voss and Karen, and we had that same economic study question come up, and so we ended up backing off the affordable housing, like trying to increase the number because we don't have the money or capacity to do an economic study. So we're going to just go with the 10%.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, Stacy.
Affordable housing elsewhere.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that, Stacy, and it's just one of those things. We seem to be ahead of the curve on bringing in housing, and we recognize we have a fairly highly stratified economic groupings in this town, and we are struggling for housing. So, unfortunately, being aggressive got us in trouble. That's what's interesting about it, is we put a stake in the sand and said, we want to do this. And that got us, that's what jammed us up with this one. But we'll get through it. I'm not really that overly concerned about it. And form-based code, as Karen mentioned, that is a new animal for lots of people. So people aren't used to that yet. So we'll see. I think we're the people with the arrows sticking out of our backs. We're the pioneers right now. And we'll see how it goes.
We're doing form-based code later, so we'll be able to get through MBTA before we get to form-based code. So we're behind, so maybe being behind pays.
I always think Harvard's ahead of air. Don't worry about it.
No.
I think that many of our communities are going through the same thing because they are smaller communities with a challenge in trying to meet the MBTA requirements. And Karen, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but that's what it seems like to me.
Exactly.
And in nuts and bolts, I think we're looking at an additional $22,000 to $26,000 in cost in order to do this.
But you guys do already comply with the requirements, except for that.
Yeah, exactly. But we're at the door. They're saying you need one more thing to come through the door. By the way, it's going to cost you 20 grand or something. We'll sort it out. And we have our first meeting on it tomorrow. We'll sort it out. Thanks.
Good luck.
Okay.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Karen, for all your information. 6.3 is transit and transportation.
Yes, I have a short update on that tonight. Just as I mentioned last month, work is underway on two of our major products for the year, a transportation improvement program, which is for federal fiscal years 2025 through 29, and our unified planning work program. The work program is basically the projects that staff works on in the transportation department through our 3C contract throughout the year. We solicited projects from communities. That project solicitation closes tomorrow, and we'll get back to communities shortly thereafter. We're still working along with the Joint Transportation Committee and the MPO to get these out for a draft public comment in April. So that's sort of on the horizon right now. So we'll provide updates to those two groups and to the commissioners as well as we progress towards the final drafts. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Brian. Any questions?
Laura, excuse me. This is Barbara. I have a question for Brian.
Okay.
Brian, I understand that there is a study being conducted to possibly enlarge, widen Route 2 in the vicinity of Shirley, going, I think, as far as Fitchburg. Do you know anything about that? Could you enlighten us on that?
There's been a number of, we are involved in a study on Route 2 right now. There's been a number of groups throughout the years, obviously, that have talked about such a project. I'm not aware of anything. The most recent we've looked into is extending some of the on and off ramps on Route 2. It was a few years ago. Worked with DOT on that, Mass DOT. Nothing came of it. You know, it comes up often as you know, congestion mitigation techniques. Every so often we'll look at some of the issues and try to determine candidate projects to put on our transportation improvement program to sort of help that along. But there's nothing underway right now that I'm aware of. I can look into it a little bit and get back to you though.
Yeah, I came up at our planning board meeting on Wednesday. There is there is an online Zoom presentation about it. I can forward that to you if you're interested.
That would be great. I do know of one thing that has happened recently is I believe that a few of the state representatives and possibly Senator Aldrich convenes a group and had a meeting or maybe two meetings. I don't think it's a regular group that's going to meet that often, just to talk about more so east of this region towards the Concord Rotary. I'm not aware of where that has gone. If it has expanded in the conversation a little bit to our region, but that very may well be the case. So that'd be great if you could forward me that information. That would be helpful.
I'll do that, Brian. Yes, and I would be all for lengthening those on-ramps. I mean, you take your life in your hands getting onto Route 2 from the Shirley entrance onto Route 2.
Yes, yeah, that's a problem that we've identified in our long-range plans as well, and a number of issues prevent that. One of the issues is the bridge that is right there off of Lancaster Road and Shirley. You know, there's some environmental issues as well, but we brought up that as a priority to Mass DOT, and also within our discussions at the MPO when we talk about prioritizing projects. And obviously nothing has been going on there, but it still remains an issue.
Great. Okay, thanks, Brian.
Anything else from the commissioners? Hearing none. Thank you, Brian. Number 7, new business. Does anyone have any new business for the board to review that they'd like to bring up? Hearing and seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting at 8:03 p.m.
Madam Chair, if you don't mind, I don't want to hold this a long time. It says the next meeting is March 8th. I think that's a Friday night.
Yeah, it is. So it must be the 7th.
Yeah, just double checking because
Yeah, I wouldn't be here.
I was going to say, we can't make Karen go to Friday night meetings every month. That would be fair.
So
It's because of leap year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My
Okay.
apologies. Leap year got me.
Date move.
Okay. According to the calendar, it is the 7th, and
Thank
we'll
you.
make that correction. Thank you for that. Anything else before
Move to
we
adjourn.
adjourn? Okay, at 8:04 p.m. Jason, do you want to do a roll call vote?
Yep, Laura Schifrin,
Yes.
Christopher Monroe,
Yes.
Rick Ward,
Aye.
Jeff Tillotson,
Aye.
Kathy Norton,
Yes.
Aubrey Yoakum,
Aye.
Sasha Donahue,
Aye.
Audra Hoyt,
Aye.
Kyle Nardowitz.
Aye.
That's it.
Thank you very much, everyone, for your participation this evening, and look forward to seeing you on March 7th. Stay
Enjoy
well.
the rest of your trip, Laura. You too, Glenn.
Glenn.
Bye now.
Have a good night, everyone.
Have a good month, everyone.